Hello, Stitchers. I'm Amy. I'm the Globetrotting Stitcher. I'm here with Gary, also a Globetrotting Stitcher, and welcome to our 100th episode. Holy smokes. I cannot believe that we have done this 100 times now. But we're glad that you're here with us today. We know that many of you have been with us since the very beginning, so thank you for that. But whether this is your first episode or your 100th episode, we thank you for spending some time with us today. We hope that you enjoy what we have to show you, and we look forward to many more Stitchy episodes in the future. So a couple quick updates, and then we will get right into the stitching because we do have a lot of good stuff to show you today. We are now rolling very quickly downhill into the end of January, and it has been a busy start to the year for me at work. I always think that January is going to be quiet because for many years at work, January was quiet, and apparently nobody has been getting the memo for the last 5 or 6 years because it's been wild in January, and this year has been wild again. So we're just doing the best we can. But all that to say that I am a little bit behind on responding to some of the comments and emails that we've received in the last several weeks. So my apologies for that. I'm working to catch up, but just wanted you to know they've been seen. It's just that actually sitting down and taking time to respond takes a little bit longer. So my apologies. And I thank all of you who have taken the time to send emails and messages and comments. So we do appreciate those. Wanted to also tell you that Bear's recovered well from his surgery. So in our last video, we were sharing with you that Bear was getting ready to go in for a major surgery on his hip. He had to have a mass removed. And so he's had his stitches out for just about a week. And his incision healed up beautifully. His doctor was really pleased. And even better news, we got the results back from the lab because they did further testing on the lump that was removed or the mass that was removed, and no cancer. It was just a lipoma. So that's fantastic news. They did find in his kind of pre-surgery tests and then some follow-up tests they did after surgery that he does have a small leak in his heart. I can't remember what they called it, but it's mild, not symptomatic. And apparently he's also like borderline high blood pressure, which we were a little surprised by because he eats a pretty healthy diet. So we'll be trying to get some direction from his doctor on monitoring that and making sure that we're managing it well. But overall, I mean, for a dog who is, 2 or 3 months away from turning 12 years old, she feels like he's in great health. All his blood work looks good. So we're happy and he's feeling good and he's definitely feeling better. So Bear is doing well. We loved it and Bear loved it because when he was in the recovery phase, he received a get well get well card from Oliver the cat. And so you might remember a few episodes ago that Oliver's mom and dad, Hugh and Andrea, sent us a photo of Oliver watching our Flosstube episode with them. And so we loved that. And Oliver sent Bear a get well card, which we just thought was very sweet. So thank you, Oliver and Hugh and Andrea. We have another surgery coming up in the family. So just as a note, my dad, who is trying to compete with Bear for the number of surgeries that the two of them can have. My dad's going in for a pretty major back surgery in the middle of February. They have to actually open him up and install some hardware, and it's apparently a pretty big surgery with a longer recovery period. So we appreciate your thoughts and prayers for him as he's gearing up for that. And we're hopeful that that's going to improve his pain management and his mobility a bit. One last thing I want to mention before we get into the stitching. In our last video, I showed one of my finishes from 2025, and that was an ornament that we made for our friend Emmett, and who is a big fan of the All Blacks rugby team in New Zealand. And I was sharing with you all that was my first foray into designing. And so had some interest actually from a few of our viewers in getting a copy of that chart. And I have not had time to respond to them yet. But I wanted to just note for those folks who might be watching, very happy to share that chart with you. You do not need to buy it from me. I'm happy to share it. However, it was what I put together was actually a Frankenstein chart because I had, because a large portion of the chart is over 1 stitching and then the rest of it is over 2. And I am still very new at max stitch. So I don't know how to do over 1 and over 2 stitching in the same chart in max stitch. So we'll need to figure that out so we can pull that all together and create a combined chart. And once we have that figured out, we'd be very happy to share copies of that. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds. We'll let you know on the channel when I have something that we can share with folks that are interested, and then we'll pass that along. But so we appreciate your patience, but happy to share when it's ready. Okay, I think that's it for updates. So I've got 4 fully finished objects to share with you. Holy smokes, it's a lot. One of these I actually should have shared in our last video because I fully finished it early in December and then had put it up on the wall and completely forgot to bring it down and share it in the last video. So the first fully finished object that I'm going to show you is a project that I finished almost a year ago now. It is Die Farben Venedig, or The Colors of Venice by Historische Stickmuster. I stitched this project on a piece of 36 count cream and sugar linen by Fiber on a Whim using the called for Soie Alger silks. And yeah, I finished this in January of 2025. It took me 75 stitching days, but it is now framed and it's been on the wall in our bedroom for a little over a month. Well, actually almost 2 months now, and I've been loving it. So here is my fully finished version of The Colors of Venice, or Die Farben Venedig. I absolutely love this. I was a little bit uncertain about this frame when I ordered it. And once I actually, pulled it out and got it all put together, I could not be happier. I think the warm browns and the gold in the frame pick up beautifully on the warm tones and really just set this piece off. And so it is just so beautiful. I am thrilled with it. And I have been very much enjoying having this up on the wall in our room. I'm planning to stitch one of the companion pieces to this chart that it's the exact same dimensions or almost exact same dimensions, and I have a matching frame to go with that. So I'll have a nice pair for our room eventually. But anyway, this is my fully finished version of The Colors of Venice, and I honestly could not be happier with how it turned out. I'm also pretty darn happy with my mounting and framing job here. I won't point out where there's just a little bit of margin that could be better, but my margins around the sides are pretty straight and even. So I am getting better at this gradually, this whole personally or self-framing of my projects. But yeah, so there we are with The Colors of Venice. My next fully finished object is a seasonal project that I finished last year. And let's see, I'll show you this one first. So last year I finished stitching, Spring Delivery by Scattered Seed Samplers. Stitched this on a piece of 40 count Celestine linen by Fiber on a Whim using the called for flosses. And this took me 12 stitching days. I finished it last October. And so I framed this in an oval frame that I picked up at Michael's last summer. And when I actually saw this frame on the shelf in Michael's, I immediately knew that I wanted to use it for this project. And I had actually a different project planned in mind to start. And when I saw this frame and knew where I wanted to use it, I changed up my own plan of what I was going to stitch because I was so excited to actually finish this design in this frame, and I love how it turned out. So this is my fully finished version of Spring Delivery by Scattered Seed Samplers. So not only, I'm actually going to put this here for a second, not only did I finish that, but I have also finished, since the last video that you saw, finished all the stitching on the companion piece, which is Spring Gathering, also by Scattered Seed Samplers, also stitched on 40 count Celestine linen by Fiber on a Whim, also using the called for floss. This one only took me 9 stitching days. And I had bought a second matching frame so that they could be a nice pair. And I am so thrilled with how this one turned out. I just think this set, I absolutely love them. I'm really, really pleased with them. And I think these frames are just perfect. I had a good laugh to myself because, and I even said this in our last video, I referenced like the flowers in her basket. And when I was stitching on it to finish it up, I was looking at it and I was like, those don't look very flower-like. And all of a sudden it hit me, those are not flowers in her basket, dum-dum. Those are eggs. And they look like eggs. They don't look like flowers. Anyway, I had a good laugh at my own mistaking of the eggs for flowers, but now that I see them as eggs, I will never see them as anything but eggs again.
From here, they look like potatoes. They do, from here. From over here.
Actually, you're right. They also look like potatoes.
Maybe Idaho russet. I don't know.
Well, there you go. That's potato or egg. You be the judge.
It's an egg potato.
Eggs and potatoes go well together, so.
That's where you get it.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, I think, since he's got chicks, it's probably eggs, but you're probably right. Maybe it's potatoes.
You never know.
You never know. Anyway, here's our match set. Really looking forward to putting these out in the spring with the Easter decor and the spring decor. And I love how they turned out. So that's spring delivery and spring gathering. All right. And my final fully finished object is another one of my seasonal pieces that I finished, oh my goodness, close to a year ago as well on this. And it is Seasons Winter by Lila's Studio. I stitched this on a piece of 32 count avocado linen by XJU Designs, mostly using the called for flosses, although I made one major change to this, and that is that the birds are charted in black and I chose to stitch them in red. And then I did a little bit of recharting on them to give them the crest so that they would look more like cardinals. So I turned this into a pillow over my holiday break, and I really like how it turned out. I actually had a big debate with myself because I had two different fabric colorways that I could have gone with for the pillow, and one was really picking up on these brighter, more Christmassy reds in the cardinals. And then the other, which you can see I ended up going with, is a little bit more of this toned down kind of rustic-y brick red that is picking up on the colors in the sleigh. And I really debated back and forth, but I'm actually happy with the choice that I made. So as you can see, I have like a little band of just green here that offsets it. And then of course my simple brick red fabric, and then just kept it really basic on the back with more of that brick red fabric. And then I used a rub-on sticker just to give it a little bit of visual interest on the back. I might add a charm or something like that at some point. It's not really fit for purpose for putting on fabric, so I don't think it's gonna stay on there forever. So I'll probably zhuzh up the back with something else. But I decided to keep it simple. I debated adding a trim on the pillow and ended up deciding that it works better with a simpler finish and no trim. So that is my Seasons Winter by Lila's Studio. And this finishes out this series for me. I have now stitched all 4 seasons in that set by Lila's Studio. And it's been fun because the others I use in our decor throughout the year in the appropriate season. And so I've now got winter covered as well. All right, so that's it for fully finished objects. Let's go ahead and talk about whips. So we've got several whips to show you. The first one I'm gonna talk about is my monthly morning stitch for January. So I have picked back up my Lumberjack Beaver by Kits by SA Stitch. And I am stitching this on a piece of, that is available on Etsy. We have a link in the description box below to that. I am stitching this 2/2 on a piece of 36 count Winter Scene Lugana by Fabric Flair. So the last time you saw this was actually in our last episode, which was our annual whip parade. And you had seen that I had stitched, I think, most of the head of the beaver, and I think I yeah, and I was working in a little bit of this. I don't know. I can't remember if I think I might have also finished stitching, filling in the scarf around his neck, or I was pretty close to finished with his scarf and had started working in his sweater. And I have put in almost 2,000 stitches plus back stitch in the month of January. So I am making good progress. Here he is now. You guys, I'm so happy with how this beaver looks. It is just really looking Sorry. This beaver looks great. We're all grown-ups here. So as you can see, I have filled in down through more of the beaver's sweater, and I've done quite a bit of back stitch. So he's got a lot of back stitch now in his hat, a little bit more back stitch in his face, and then have started the back stitch in his scarf and in his sweater, and now he's got these little paws, and so I've started back stitching there as well. There's like 6 different colors of thread that are used for back stitch in this design, and I don't enjoy doing back stitch all that much, but I love the effect, especially on a project like this where the different shades that are used really give this subtle dimension and sense of realism. And so I'm really, really pleased with how he's looking. I'm almost finished. In fact, the chart is actually 2 pages. So all the cross stitch on the top half of, or the top page, the first page of the chart is done. And I only have, I think, a couple more strands of back stitch, and then the entire top half of the chart will be done. And so now I'm really working my way down, as you can see. I haven't got a whole lot left to do. I've got this sort of band of cream and red or cream and orange in his sweater, and then we'll get to the we'll get to the bottom of the sweater, and then we'll have his body and his tail. But he's really coming along. I only have about another 4 or 5 days of work that I'll be able to put in on him before we get into February, and then it'll be time to switch to a new project. But I've really enjoyed working on him this month. I think he's adorable, and I am still hoping that I'll be able to get him finished this year so that next year I can move on to the next animal that I want to put on this project. But that is where we are on Lumberjack Beaver for now. All right, the next project I will show you is my weekend stitch. And that is Butterfly Port Mauve by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am stitching this on a piece of 28 count white easy grid Lugana 2/1 using a combination of half stitch and continental stitch. So the last time you saw this was also in our whip parade, which was our last video. And what we were showing you at that point was that we, are getting close to the bottom of this first column. And I'm sorry, this is a little bit awkward while I try and get this on the board because it's now quite long. There we go. Okay, so we're getting close to the bottom of the column. Miss Sophie. Getting close to the bottom of the column, and I was at just over 48,000 stitches on this project when we showed it to you in our whip parade at the end of 2025. I've put in a little over 1,100 stitches over the course of January so far. And so I'm now at 17.7%. And here's how it is looking today. So a couple of things on this since the last time you saw it. We are now fully into it is background through the end of this column, so there are no design elements to talk about. But a couple of milestones. One is that I needed to move my frame down one more time, and in doing so have reached the point where we are now, the bottom of the design is like going to be right here. So we are really, we're really close to the bottom of that column. It will be months before I actually get all of that stitching filled in, just because I only do a couple hundred stitches every weekend on it. But it's nice to know that, okay, this is as far down as the frame is going to go, and then we'll hit the bottom of that column. The other thing that happened is I did get another page finish on this in January. So I think I've now finished 4 pages, maybe 5 pages. I'd have to go back and look at my Notion to confirm. But yes, so I have gotten another page finish on this, and I'm really excited to kind of have the end of that column in sight, because once I get back up into this column and get through that first top section of background again, there's a ton of really interesting and beautiful stuff that we'll be starting to stitch on. So, I mean, in terms of time, we're still a ways away from that, but it's exciting to kind of see that coming up, and know that we're going to be getting into some fun things on this project sooner rather than later. We're closer to that now than we were, 5 years ago. Well, 3 years ago, whatever, 4 years. I don't know. It's coming. Anyway, that's where I am on Butterfly Port Mauve. I'm going to stop rambling about this one now and hand over to Gary and let him talk about what he's been working on the last couple of weeks.
I never know what to say to start. It's like, how do you start? I don't know how to start. So I'm here for cross stitching, and you should know that the 2 projects that I have been working on, we'll be talking about them separately. Okay, we'll be talking about Louis Armstrong first. Amy's holding up Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong, the designer, is Stitching Jewels Design, and it's a 16 count white Aida and DMC 310. Anyway, the last time you saw this, I got to take a quick look over there. I believe I was working with this part of his forehead and going up, and as you can see, I've kind of gone up much more on his head. In fact, if you look, it looks like kind of a cat ear. Well, let me say, here's what it looks like now, right? Anyway, but if you look at the way it looks now, you can see there's like a little cat ear on the side of his head. And that's where, that's the last row, the second to last row, and then there's another row, but it's further in and shorter at the top. So there's not much more to do to finish pages 4 and 5. And that would leave pages 9 and 10, which would be the ones below. Which brings me to a question that one of our viewers had. I did not write your name down. I'm sorry about that. But the question was what happened, or where is Louis Armstrong's right hand? And I never thought about it. But when you look at it, here it is. When you look at it, it just looks like maybe something's growing wrong. But my understanding is that Louis Armstrong often used a handkerchief when he was playing. I think it was for the sweat and probably spit that came with the whole trumpet playing. If the way he's holding the trumpet, I don't know if I can mimic that this way. I think he's holding the trumpet, I don't know where the thumb is, but he's holding the trumpet something like that on the right hand, and then his left hand is kind of under there like that, which is partially covered by the handkerchief that he used to always have. So that's where his 2 hands are. Pages 9 and 10 will complete, or page 9 anyway, will complete that section, and there'll be more information there. So you'd be able to see, anyone will be able to tell that is, excuse me, that is in fact, I bet I just blew out the monitors. Anyway, that is in fact an accurate right hand, or left hand, I guess. That is his left hand there. And the funny thing is his watch is on his left hand, so I guess he was a righty like me. Anyway, so that's where Louis Armstrong is. As far as predictions as to when it'll get done, I don't know. Because the pages 9 and 10, which are at the bottom, the last 2 pages, there's really not a whole lot of stitching. There's more, a whole lot of the single square per column, or 2 or 3 per column, and then skip 1 and do 4. It's very weird, but it kind of outlines the type of jacket he was wearing, I guess, for this particular picture. But at any rate, so that's Louis Armstrong, and maybe he'll be done probably by the end of the quarter. We'll see. It all depends on how much time I have, how much time I devote, and how much time it takes, because the top of his head is the rest of his hair, and it's pretty dense stitching. But anyway, that's once again where I am on Louis Armstrong. I will try to make more progress moving forward. Okay, so the next one, I wasn't sure what I was going to say next. The next one I'm working on is called Unexpected Visitors. Excuse me, and that is the Night Spirit Studio, and that's an Etsy shop. And it's on 16 count clay Ada, and we're using basically the called for, 2 of the called for flosses, 1 of them we're not, and we're not going to say which one. But at any rate, the last time that you saw this, I think I had finished putting in the red. I don't remember what it looked like the last time that you saw this, but since then I have, well, here's what it looks like now, so we can definitely see what was what. Yeah, so I finished I finished page 3, that's what I did. Page 3 is the one on the bottom with the red barn ablazing. That's page 3. That's done, and now I only have to work on page 4, and I've already started filling in the white on page 4. That white is the snow on the ground, and there's a house above that. But anyway, that's where I am, excuse me, on Unexpected Visitors. And I don't know when I'll finish this one, maybe about the same time, maybe a little after. I don't see it going into 2027, is that the next one? I don't see either of these going into 2027, so that might free up some time for me to do some other form of cross-stitch thing. We'll see. Well, there's one I got to do. Anyway, and then just as a side note, this is our 100th episode, and when we started out, I don't know if people know this or don't know it or even care, but I did not do cross-stitching when Amy first started this, and what got me interested into it was I'm a model builder. I used to build little miniatures and stuff like that, so it's a similar process. But what got me into it was the uniqueness of some of the designs, and sometimes how they can say a whole lot without having to say a whole lot. With that said, this is one of my favorite cross-stitch projects. Given that we've had 100 episodes, I've completed 7 projects now. I know that's not a lot, but I've completed 7, and this is one of them. And it's one of my favorites, and I'm keeping it, and I'm keeping it. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. You've seen it before, probably, but you've seen it again. And speaking of more stuff to see, this is the last thing I have to talk about. Man, I'm rambling. Is the action figure over there. He's Lex Luthor in a Superman suit. He's another McFarlane figure. Yes, I do collect other figures, but somehow my McFarlane figures always make it out. He's not there for any special reason other than it's probably time that we all just sat down, had a beer, and just talked with each other. So there you are with Lex Luthor and his beer. So that's the action figure, and that's a wrap for me. And I'll go ahead and give you back to the saner one of us.
That's a tall order.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 more whips to show you today. So the first is my full coverage project. I had a recent start on Into Dreamland by Letty Stitch. That is a kit, and I am using the kit fabric and floss. And the last time you saw this, it actually was a brand new start. And when I say brand new start, I mean a tiny brand new start. I had just over 300 stitches on this project. So I really needed to get some decent time into it this month. Before I show you where I am right now, though, I did want to mention this is a project that I am buddy stitching with Kelly from Pages and Stitches. That's Pages 3 Stitches. She has a wonderful Flosstube channel. She posts on average about quarterly, but she doesn't really post on a set schedule. So I recommend subscribing and doing notifications because I always enjoy Kelly's videos. And she not only does cross-stitch videos, she's also an incredible quilter and just incredibly creative, and creates her own designs, and just her use of color is amazing. So if you are not already watching Kelly's channel, both her quilting and her cross stitch are beautiful. So please go check her out. So this project, like I said, the last time you saw it, brand new start. And this is where I got to in January. And so I'm pretty happy with my progress in January. That's quite a few stitches, all things considered. I should also mention this is a project that Laura from Lolly Stitches is stitching. She is a lot farther on than either Kelly or I. So she's another channel that I watch Laura's videos as soon as they come out because they're fantastic. So if she showed this in a fairly recent video, if you want to see where she is on it. But this is where I got to in January. I'm loving it. These colors are everything. I love the play of the greens and the dark browns and these kind of goldy, creamy browns. I just think they are really, really beautiful colors. I'm loving how they're working together and playing together. And I really enjoyed spending time on this project when it came up in rotation a couple weeks ago. So this is where I am on Into Dreamland by Letty Stitch. And then the last whip is another one I'm very excited to show you. So I have spent most of the last week working on my wild card stitch, which is Cabin Fever. This is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. And I am really doing well on this one. So I am stitching this on the kit fabric and floss. The fabric is, I want to say, an 18 count, like cream colored Aida. And the last time you saw this was in our end of 2025 whip parade. So in that video, you saw that I had been working my way down and stitching the reflection of the cabin and the trees in the pond below the cabin on the bottom right side of the design. I was, moving closer and closer toward the finish line on this project. And so let me show you where I am right now. So I have a couple of hanging threads because I'm in an active backstitch stage right now. But as you can see, we are getting very, very close to the finish. So I have put in a little over 1,700 stitches so far over the last week. I have less than 1,000 stitches to go to finish this project. So I'm at 97.3%. I'm so excited. So over the last week, I have been working on filling in more, especially in this kind of far right section, and really bringing that down. This is the last of the stitching that needs to be done, and then all of the stitching will be done in this project. I have also been borrowing, Gary's very generously let me borrow his magnifier because the backstitch, some of the backstitch on this project, particularly with this kind of pale green yellow that is being used for putting in the grasses, is very hard to read on the chart, and it's hard to see on the project. The rest of the backstitch is not hard to do, but that I've just had a hard time seeing it. And so I had a ton of backstitch that I have put in through here. I'm not gonna lie, it was not fun, but it's been backstitch that I've been putting off because it wasn't fun. And getting this close to the finish, I was like, girl, you got to catch up on your backstitch or you're going to have a mountain of it to do. So I've put in a ton of time filling in backstitch and getting some of these grasses that are kind of, accents here. I also put in a small section of colonial knots here. So I'm starting to whittle away at those as well. Thankfully, there's not as many colonial knots to do, but there's a fair chunk of colonial knots that are part of finishing off this project. So I'm kind of trying to eat my vegetables as I go so I don't have a whole bunch to take care of at the very end. But I am really, really excited to be close to the finish on this. I've got one more day that I'm going to put into working on that. And we'll be setting it up really well, I think, to get a finish when it comes up in February. So I'm very excited because Sarah, my friend Sarah, who is Stitch Addict on Instagram, she and I have picked out, we've decided to start another stitch along. And so I'm really excited to start my next wildcard project when this is finished. And for anyone who might be interested in joining us, we are going to be stitching lavender and lace Santas. So I expect to start on the one that I am going to be stitching in February. Sarah is going to be working on a different one, but if you have a lavender and lace Santa that you would like to stitch along with us, you're welcome to join our stitch along. And we'll tell you more about that in February when it comes up. But in any case, here we are very, very close now to the end on Cabin Fever by Dimensions. All right. That is it for whips that you have seen before, but I do have one new start to show you today. So as you saw in my fully finished objects, I wrapped up my stitching on the spring gathering chart that I was working on at the end of last year. And so I got to start a new project in my seasonal category, and I really, really enjoyed this, and I actually got one heck of a good start on it too. So I decided to start Beachy Mood by the Cricut Collection. I am stitching this on a piece of 36 count Stratus linen by Color and Cotton, and I am using all the called for DMC floss. And so this is what I got done on my first couple of days working on the project. So as you can see, I've stitched the B and the E. We've got a seagull over here with the B. We've got a couple of seashells. And I've started stitching like these buoys, and I forget what this is. It's like some sort of a, I don't know. I can't remember. It was something. We'll find out. Anyway, this is where I am on Beachy Mood. I'm loving it on this fabric. And I do have some kind of beachy, oceany things that I use for our summertime decor. And so this is going to work really well with all of those. So I'm really excited because I think this is stitching up very quickly so far. And so I think I'll have it finished and fully finished in time to put on display this summer when I start pulling out the kind of beachy decor. So that is my start on Beachy Mood by the Cricut Collection. All right. I think that does it for the stitching, but we did want to do something special to celebrate the fact that this is our 100th episode. That's a really exciting milestone. And so Gary and I agreed that we wanted to do another giveaway to celebrate that and to thank all of you for being friends of our channel. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And I want to also thank Denise, one of our viewers. So last year, Denise very generously sent us a large collection of lavender and lace patterns that she was destashing, and allowed us to pick what we wanted to keep out of that and then share the rest as giveaways. So we've already had one giveaway with some of the charts she sent us, and we're going to share some more of those with you today. And so I have 5 charts that we are putting in for giveaway. So standard giveaway rules apply with these. We are going to ask that you please don't use any words like giveaway or free or gift or any of those kind of things that will attract bots and trolls. We do want these to go to stitchers, and hopefully to stitchers who actually want to stitch them. Please, you must be 18 or older. We can't legally ask for your address if you're not a legal adult, so please be 18 or older if you enter. You're welcome to enter for all of the charts or any of the charts that you hope to win. You can only win one, but you're welcome to enter for as many as you like. We'd like you to use the keyword that I will give you in a second in a sentence, and we'll look for that keyword, and we'll use the random comment picker to find our winners. And the giveaway is open to everyone. So our 5 charts.
Everyone who's 18 years and older.
That's right. But we don't care where you live. We'll send it to you. As long as you have a mailing address. Okay. So the first one, this is a project I actually stitched many years ago and gifted to my aunt. It still hangs in her house. So this one is Nantucket Rose. A beautiful, beautiful stitch. And the key word for this one is rose. So please use rose in a sentence if you would like to win Nantucket Rose.
You could write something about one of the Golden Girls.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The next project is Peace Angel. This is another project that I stitched. We actually showed this on our channel, I think in the first year that we were putting out videos, actually. So I stitched this. I did a color conversion on it for one of my aunts, a different aunt. So this I stitched for one of my dad's sisters. who at the time was battling ovarian cancer, and very unfortunately she passed a little over 20 years ago. But she asked she picked the chart out at the time and asked if I would stitch it for her, and picked the colors that she wanted. And so she had this in her room all the way through the end of her life because she said it made her feel peace. So Peace Angel, and the key word for this project, or for this chart, is peace. We could use some peace in the world today. The next chart is Angel of Mercy. Beautiful angel with a little child. Keyword on this one is mercy. We could also use a lot more mercy in the world today. So Angel of Mercy, if you're interested in that chart. The next one is Angel of Christmas. This is really beautiful golds and reds and greens. So lots of classic Christmas colors. And your keyword for this giveaway is Christmas. Keeping it pretty straightforward and easy there. And then the last chart that we're giving away today is Ivy Wed. And this one, the keyword will be bride. So Ivy Wed, keyword bride. So we wish you good luck. And we look forward to finding out who our winners are and sharing those with you in our next update. So I'm going to wrap up just by sharing our stitching plans over the next couple of weeks before we come back to spend some more time with you. As I said, I'm going to spend one more day working on Cabin Fever. I want to get a couple hundred more stitches in that and try and get more back stitch done so that the finish comes easily, hopefully in February, and I don't run it out to the end of the rotation to get that one done. I am then going to spend a week working on Ernestine Bruyere 1909, which is the project I am working on by Reflet de Soie. And then I will spend a week working on my Fancy Lady, which is County Fair by Lavender and Lace. Boy, this is like a Lavender and Lace episode, but I'll spend a week working on County Fair by Lavender and Lace. Also trying to move that one closer to a finish. We're getting down toward the end on that as well. And then I will be switching when we move into the 1st of February to a new monthly morning stitch. And so I'll be working on Romantic Dreams by Stitch Witch Cat. And of course, continuing on my weekend stitch, Butterfly Port Mauve. Gary, as you know, is going to continue to plug away on Louis Armstrong. And oh my goodness, my brain just went blank.
Unexpected Visitors.
Thank you very much. So I think that does it for us today. We're going to wrap it up here, and I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
I'm trying to wrap it up.
Battery's going to die.
I know. Okay.
All right.
Go.
You were wrapping it up.
I was working on it, and you were okay.
Go.
Anyway. Oh, good. Thanks for making it to the end of our video. We hope that you enjoyed spending time with us. We hope you enjoyed seeing our projects. If you like our videos, please do give us the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing and spending more time with us. You're welcome to leave comments or send emails to us at Globetrotting Stitcher.
It's like the last bar.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would be done by now.
All right, I'm sorry.
Anyway, you know how to contact us. It'll all be in the description box below. One final comment, and then we will close it out for today.
What
and
part of last bar?
Can you just give me a second, please?
All right.
I just wanted to say we intentionally avoid any sort of political talk on our channel because this is a channel about cross stitch, and that is what we're here to share with you. But I feel like in times like this, it's just important to say, and we just wanted to share with our friends and our viewers and those of you in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area that, we see you and we are praying for strength and courage for you, and we stand with you. So sorry for getting emotional about that, but we will look forward to seeing you in our next video. And in the meantime, happy stitching. Bye for now.